Coming to us from one of Bandai's newest model kit lines, we have the Master Grade Super Deformed Wing Zero Endless Waltz. What a fitting time for this kit to release as we see Wing Zero put in work and save the day during Christmas. We're going to be taking a deep dive look at this kit from head to toe and everything in between. If you've ever wanted to fight for Space Colony independence, let me know in the comments below. Starting this review like we always do, let's take a look at the runners. The MGSD Wing Zero is built from 14 runners, 10 different colors, including clear pieces, and 366 parts. Despite the runners and the parts being larger than we're used to seeing, this box still packs quite a lot of parts within it, which is quite impressive. The smallest part we have here is the green sensor part for the eyes, which is a nice feature that all these MGSD Gundams have. I love taking a look at these kits and seeing the sensors behind the eyes. It's a wonderful feature. The only other small parts I could think of are the pieces for the chest Gatling, but that's really it. 6 small pieces on this little guy isn't bad at all. The rest of the parts are decently sized and gave me no trouble during assembly. As you would normally expect from a typical Bandai kit, everything fit and snapped together quite well, making assembly an intuitive and easy experience. No steps here were tricky and everything flowed nicely. This was a blast to put together. This kit did take me quite a bit of time to assemble. From opening the box to final clear coat, this took me about 12 hours or so to put together. You get a lot of bang for your buck here with this kit. This little lad took quite a bit of time to panel line. I used Tamiya Accent Color Black for primary lining, but cleanup took longer than I anticipated. I'm not sure if it's from the molding process of the plastic or if my liner bottle is messed up, but the panel smudged a lot. I had to do a lot of cleanup on these panel lines, and I ran through a good majority of lines again with the panel liner pen. Luckily, the pour type liner took care of most of the big stuff like the wings, but the legs and front skirt had to be relined with my .003 Pigma pens. From the inner frame to the main body, there is a lot to line here. There's an armor separation gimmick on the legs, shoulder armor, and main wings, so I would definitely be sure to line these parts so you'll see them when the hatches are open. Looking at the completed product, I'm very happy I panel lined everything. There's little bits throughout the whole kit where you can see the frame poke through the armor, and these details are nice to take a close look at. Well worth the time and investment for the panel lining. The seam lines on display here are what you would expect from a Wing Zero Endless Waltz type of kit. All Wing Zeros are going to suffer the same seam lines on the wings. There's simply no avoiding it. There's a large seam line down the middle of both wings. The larger front wings have the seam line sort of unaligned as a stylistic choice. I believe this is their way of trying to mask the seam lines, but I didn't bother to panel line this as I thought it would be too much. The other seam line on the back wings goes straight down the center of the wing from top to bottom. Again, like I said, this is how it is on the Master Grade Verka and the old RG Wing Zero. It's just a quirk with how this mobile suit is designed. The main body of the mobile suit itself has passable seam lines with nothing really obvious sticking out to me. The blue forearm appears to have a seam line, but this can actually slide out so the Buster rifle can lock into the forearm for extra stability while holding it. They really thought of everything with this little kit. The color accuracy of this kit is top notch. There are no color correcting stickers here, which is nice to see. The kit does include railgrade type styling decals, which look great on the kit and really complete the look. For this kit, I clear coated the whole kit with Mr. Hobby Matte Clear to help lock these stickers down and give the kit a nice completed finish. This also helps blend the raised edges of these stickers into the kit itself and makes it look more complete. Absolutely no complaints with the colors or stickers here with this kit. The nubs on this kit are pretty decent. Most are on the edges of the armor or body panels, which makes for a nice easy cleanup and can mostly be handled with the 2-cut method. There are a few nubs right in the middle of the arms for the large front wings, so you'll want to take some extra time cleaning up these gray pieces as they're going to be pretty noticeable if you scar the plastic here. Beyond those pieces, no other nubs really stick out to me. This kit really handles a lot of builders' woes really well. With the build process covered, let's take a look at the articulation. Because the wings here are so massive, I'm going to cover the articulation of the mobile suit with them off so we can focus on the mobile suit itself and not have to fight with the wings. Just know that the arm articulation is going to be hindered by these wings with them on. The head is on a swivel in the neck and a ball joint in the head. This allows the head to move and bob forward like a chicken. It gives us a downward look of 50 degrees and an upwards look of 65 degrees, which is pretty good. With the ball joint, we can rotate the head 360 degrees all the way around, and we can tilt left to right 25 degrees in either direction. The torso has 2 swivels, one in the abdomen and one in the upper chest, giving us a decent ab crunch despite the SD design. This gives us an impressive 40-degree ab crunch. What a chad! The waist can also rotate left to right, but is hindered by the skirt armor. We don't get a full 360-degree rotation here, but we do get 60 degrees in either direction, which is pretty decent. The front skirts can open up 90 degrees flat, and the side skirts can open up 30 degrees outwards, and the rear skirts can swing outwards 90 degrees as well. The waist itself has 2 swivels for the side skirts, so they can swing backwards, which is a nice addition. The leg connections in the waist can swing outward and downward, which gives us a nice extension for the legs. This makes the leg connection in the waist horizontal, but also gives us more utility for the legs themselves. With the front skirt open and the hip dropped a little, we can kick the Wing Zero's leg forward 90 degrees. Just be really careful with this hip dropping gimmick so you don't snap one of the joints. With the leg dropped and the side skirt swung outwards out of the way, we can get a full split here as well. Kicking backwards, the leg can only go about 60 degrees. The leg armor gets in the way of the hip dropping gimmick and doesn't actually buy you any more rear articulation, which is fine. A 60-degree backwards kick is pretty standard and more than I bargained for an SD type of designed kit. The knee is double jointed, giving us a decent leg compression and also revealing a nice armor separation gimmick, showing off the silver and gray of the framing. The front and rear shin armors are on separate joints, the front armor being on an up and down swivel and the rear armor being on a ball joint. This gives us a nice range of armor coverage no matter the pose we're going for. The foot is on a swivel in the shin and a ball joint in the foot, giving us a nice range of motion just on the foot itself. With the ball joint, we can swivel around in all directions as well as left to right an unnatural amount. The toe can bend downwards and the top of the toe also has an upwards bend, which can be useful for kneeling poses, which this kit can surprisingly pull off. Starting the arms, they can pull away from the torso a good amount, allowing the Gundam to fully swing his arm across the chest. Again, really impressive for an MGSD. The shoulder armor has an open hatch gimmick where it can spread open, revealing some nice details. The shoulder armor can swing upwards almost 90 degrees vertically, allowing the arms to give us a full T-pose. The shoulder joint is on a ball joint, allowing the arm to fully rotate around 360 degrees, but just be mindful with the wings attached, this isn't always going to be possible. The arms are on 2 swivels, one in the bicep and one in the wrist. This allows us to swing the arms in a multitude of ways, as well as swing the bulky forearm armor out of the way for whatever pose we're going for. The elbow is on a double joint, giving us a bicep curl that's about average with an MGSD. The hand has a swivel in the palm as well as an articulate thumb and index finger, while the middle, ring, and pinky fingers are all on the same joint. With these hands, you can hold the rifles and beam sabers no problem, giving you fist, open, and shooting hand configurations. This is a good middle ground from posable to static type of hands. The backpack here is extremely articulate. Starting with the rear wings, they can swing left to right a good amount. They're also on a swivel joint so you can swing them inwards or outwards however you see fit. The tips of the wings are on a swivel, allowing them to tuck closely to the mobile suit itself or to spread outward a great amount. There's 90 degrees of articulation here. Finally, the wings can spread open, revealing smaller feathers within the wings themselves. Remember, this is the more simplistic wing here, and it's extremely impressive. This might be the most articulate Wing Zero we've gotten to date. The outward wings are on 2 arms that have tons of swivels within them. I'm not going to go over every swivel and joint here, as we would be here all day, but the articulation for these wings is very comprehensive. If there's a pose you want to achieve with this, I assure you it would be possible. The wings themselves also have a lot of articulation. Starting off, we can slide the wing open, revealing the silver frame pieces as well as the blue clear piece. From there, we can open the second wing flap, revealing more blue and silver, and lastly, there are some feathers on the backside we can swing out from behind to fully expand the wing. This wing articulation, combined with the articulation of the arm, gives you endless possibilities for poses with these wings. The accessories here are pretty light, given Wing Zero's main payload really is its twin Buster Rifle. The Buster Rifle looks pretty good here and has a high amount of detail, which looks great once panel lined. Wing Zero also has 2 chest machine guns that can open up and deploy, which is a neat feature. We have 2 beam sabers here that can fold up in the rear wings, and of course the beam saber blades to go with them. Finally, we have a shield included like we did with the Wing Zero Verka. This shield is not seen in the original OVA and mostly exists to give this kit the transformation. The shield here does feel like an afterthought and more of an addition to the gimmick of the transformation. The shield does not like to fit onto the forearm, the connection peg is really loose, plus with the forearm and the armor and the wings it's really tight, so it's really not a good fit. I would probably just display this Gundam without the shield and only use the shield if you wanted the transformation. The transformation here is really quite simple. The rear skirt swings downward, getting out of the way so the side skirts can rotate around the backside and cover the rear. The legs lay flat and the toes point straight downward. The arms can rotate so the forearm armor is facing downwards and get as close to the side as possible, with the shoulder armor opening up and swinging over, protecting the arms. The wings swivel out and lay flat, and the rear wings sit angled. The head rotates around backwards, and the two Buster rifles attach to the shield. The shield then attaches to a point on the backpack, and there you have it. You fully transform the kit into its Neo Bird mode. A very easy transformation, and again, just looks like a Gundam laying down. It's not very exciting, but it's neat that they included it into the MGSD kit. The manual does say that there's a transformation for the atmospheric re-entry mode, for both the Neo Bird mode and regular mobile suit mode. All that changes is the orientation of the large wings and the head. It's really nothing crazy. With all this unexpectedly great articulation, the kit can really pull off some nice poses here. The wings do stop the arms in certain places, but for the most part they don't really limit the articulation too much. You can do the iconic combined Buster Rifle attack, which we see at the end of the Endless Waltz OVA, and with the beam saber out we can prepare to fight Wu Fei in single combat. This kit has no issues standing on its own despite its extremely heavy wings, and the kit looks great no matter how you decide to pose it. Whether it be on the ground or in air, you're going to be happy with the capabilities of this little kit despite his small stature. Once again, Bandai has made another kit in the MGSD line that exceeds my expectations. I never thought we'd get this much articulation and capability out of a kit that follows the SD design formula. Yet here we are with a fantastic release from Bandai proving that MGSD is fully living up to its master grade namesake. The details, the color separation, and the wide range of colors all contrasting together make this kit look elegant once it's built. Not only is the mobile suit articulation great, it's not really hindered by its large wings and long heavy payload of Buster rifles. The wings can articulate in any way you can imagine, and the kit remains rock solid throughout all of it. I can't really think of any real complaints here beyond the weird smudging of the panel liner, and all that really did was just add to my cleanup time. It wasn't even a problem with the kit itself. If we're talking about the kit and build specifically, then really the biggest thing you'll have to deal with is the seam lines on these wings and those few pesky nubs on the gray parts, but that's really it. This kit is a phenomenal out-of-the-box build experience and will be an enjoyable build for people new to the hobby or seasoned veterans who have been building kits for years. The Wing Zero has exceeded all my expectations and is packed rich with great features and gimmicks. This is one of my favorite builds of the entire 24 year, with a great value for the money spent. It kept me busy and I thoroughly enjoyed my time building it. Really, the biggest hurdle someone might face with picking this kit up is if they don't like the SD design, which if that's a camp you fall into, I implore you to check out one of these MGSD kits. They really are a blast. I'd recommend any Gunpla builder to pick up the MGSD Wing Zero whenever you can. It's a great build. Thank you all so much for tuning into this kit review. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions go a long way to help with channel growth, and it helps me immensely. I cannot thank you all enough for the support. I hope to see you in the next kit review, and until then, stay safe, have fun, and happy building.